Hey you guys, so today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about doing makeup on mature skin. I'm also going to talk about how you should be talking to your client for those of you who don't have mature skin and want to learn something today anyways. The first thing I want to note, as always, is that these are just suggestions. You do not by any means have to follow any of these rules or guidelines. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Another thing I want to note is that for those of you going through menopause, your skin can go through a lot of changes during that time. Even though you had oily skin in your 30s, you may now have dry skin or normal skin even. Because of that, you may want to change up your skincare routine or even all of your products altogether. For those of you that are artists, freelance, or working at a counter, it's really important to know how to talk to your client. You want them to feel comfortable all the time because getting your makeup done can be a scary thing for a lot of people. You always want to focus on the positives, not the negatives about your client, as to make them feel more comfortable. You don't want to skirt around any issues that they may have, you just want to be really gentle about how you word things. It's just common sense and polite. Rather than saying, you have a lot of redness, you want to say something more along the lines of, I see that you have an uneven skin tone, we're going to go ahead and correct that. You don't want to say, man, you have a really small upper lip. You want to say you have a fuller bottom lip, I'm going to go ahead and even those out. This is going to make your client feel a little bit more comfortable, which is important because you don't want them to feel embarrassed about any flaws that they may have because we all have flaws. So without any further ado, we're just gonna move right into the makeup. I have my mother as a model today. Let's do this. I'm using MAC's Complete Comfort Cream. So when you're working on mature skin, or any skin really, you really wanna make sure to moisturize well. This is gonna help the makeup to sit better on the face, and it's also gonna help it to last a little bit longer. Next, we're gonna go in with our primer. I'm using Guerlain's Meteorites Pearl Primer. Using primer is gonna help to fill in any fine lines or pores that there may be on the face. It's also gonna help the makeup to last a little bit longer. Notice how I use the word fine lines. Thank you. For our base, I'm just going to be using a NYX Tinted Moisturizer and a little bit of Anastasia Concealer in any places that need a little bit more coverage. We're using a tinted moisturizer today because it's going to feel a little bit lighter on the skin. As we age and our skin matures, we don't want to use products that are too heavy on the skin. Typically, you want to opt for things that are a little bit more lightweight and creamy. If it's too heavy, it's going to settle into those fine lines, and we don't want that.
No, we don't.
The other thing I want to mention is that you want to be fairly gentle with your client. There is a face under there, so you don't want to be pushing them around too much. I'm just going to lightly stipple a translucent powder over top. This is a pressed powder. If you use a loose one, it'll stick too much to those. How do I say this? This is a pressed powder. If you use a loose one, sometimes it can highlight any fine lines. I'm just going to go in and lightly contour with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. Again, we're just going to lightly stipple that onto the skin. Don't look too excited, Mom. Your curly hair is just wild and unruly.
Welcome to my world.
We're gonna sound like polar opposites on this video. Like you're so like calm and quiet. She's not actually like this. I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
Okay, go ahead.
Inside joke, you guys wouldn't understand. I'm just gonna go in and highlight the face with this color here. When you're working with more mature skin, you typically want to avoid any shimmer or glitter. Again, that just tends to highlight any fine lines or pores. So we're going to be working mostly with mattes today. Not mostly, entirely. So I'm just going to go in with this peachy pink blush from Milani. It's called Luminoso, and it actually does have a little bit of shimmer in it, so I'm just contradicting everything I just said. Again, just dabbing that on at the apples of the cheek. I'm just going to go in and apply MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre as an eyeshadow base, and then we're going to use our Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette over top. And again, you want to be especially gentle when you're working around the eye area. If you want to use your fingers to blend at any point, you just want to make sure to ask them if they're okay with that. Sometimes it feels a little bit invasive to have people touching your face even though they're doing your makeup. Or my talons, rather.
Yeah, try not to poke me in the eye.
I guess you couldn't see that. That wasn't that funny for you. So I'm just going to go over that eyeshadow base with a light eyeshadow color in the same tone.
It smells so good.
I know! Also, if you need to, don't be afraid to move your client's face around a little bit. If you need to lift their brow to get to their lash line there, that's okay. I'm just going to take this color here lightly into the crease, and then we're going to go ahead and darken it with that color there. So we're just taking that first color lightly into the outer corner and blending into the crease. Typically with mature skin, you want to stick to neutral colors. It's just a bit more flattering, but I mean, again, you can do whatever you want. Or rather, whatever the client wants. We're going to be going with that darker color on the outer corner and blending into the crease. You want to make sure to keep everything pretty smoky and blended. You don't want any harsh lines, especially on mature skin. I'm just going to go in using that same dark shadow on a liner brush. We're going to use the powder because it's going to create a more diffused smoky line, which is going to be more flattering than a really sharp, unnatural line. As you can see, I only brought the liner in halfway there. We're going to keep it nice and light in the inner corner there just to lift the eye. If you're wondering why I chose to do her base before her eyes, it's just because it's a little bit more comfortable for clients to have their skin covered first. So just taking that same dark shadow, we're going to go under the lower lash line. And again, we're only going about halfway. And we're just going to diffuse that and make it nice and smoky. So when you're doing your client's makeup with their eyes open, you want to make sure to step away every few seconds so they get the chance to blink. Helps them to feel a little bit less claustrophobic, and it also makes their eyes water less. You may choose to just stop here and add mascara, but I'm going to add in some small individual lashes using NYX lashes and House of Lashes glue. For a more natural look, you could choose to apply the same length all the way through, but I'm going to apply a little bit of longer lashes on the outer corner and shorter ones towards the inner corner, just to lift that outer eye a little bit more. When you're doing lashes on clients, you want to make sure to ask them if they have any latex allergies or if they're sensitive to adhesives, because a lot of people are. The glue that I'm using right now is in fact latex free, and it also is my favorite lash glue, so I highly recommend picking it up. So we just applied her mascara off screen as our eyes were watering a little bit. Now we're going to go in and do her brows with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Brow Palette and a little bit of the Dip Brow in Auburn. My mom has a little bit more of a prominent brow bone, so what I'm going to do is keep the brows lighter and softer in the front half. Then we're going to go ahead and darken them up and define them in the outer half. So we're just lightly applying that powder and flicking upwards. This is going to make it nice and soft and diffused. And I'm just going in with that Dip Brow and Auburn in the outer half. Last but not least, we're going to go in with a nice soft lip. I'm using YSL number 10 Beige Tribute and NYX Natural Lip Liner. So we're just going in and applying our lip liner around the edges of the lips. This is going to help to stop the lipstick from bleeding into any fine lines. And we're just going in and applying our lipstick here. I've chosen a bit of a lighter color, which is going to help to make the lips look a lot more plump and full. Darker colors tend to recede the lips. I'm just using my lip brush to blend that lip liner into the lipstick. When it comes to doing lipstick on your clients, you want to avoid telling them to make certain faces. It's really fatiguing to the face and it's kind of annoying for them. It's also a little bit uncomfortable for someone to have their mouth hanging open. So what you want to do instead is just gently lift in areas that you need to get into. So this is the finished look. As you can see, I was able to make her look about 30 years younger through the power of makeup. So this is the final look. We tried to keep the skin nice and clean and dewy and fresh. You don't want to add too much powder as it will overwhelm the skin and just make it look too dry. We kept the eyes fairly natural, but a little bit more dramatic than the lips, just keeping them nice and soft and blended and smoky. Went for a little bit more of a dramatic brow today, just to lift the eyes, and a nice natural nude lip. How you feeling?
Good.
Oh, you're welcome, Mom. That'll be $200. So that is everything. I hope you guys learned something cool today. Again, these are all just suggestions. If you want to wear purple glittery eyeshadow, then feel free. I know that's what I'll be wearing when I'm 60. Special thanks to my mom for being my guest today. Let me know what you thought of this video, if you think it was helpful, if you have mature skin, and for those of you that don't have mature skin and are working on other clients. This is really important stuff to know, especially if you're going to be working in retail. Not everybody that walks in is going to be a 17-year-old beauty queen, but that is the beauty of makeup. You can make people feel awesome no matter how old they are. Peace out.